Happy 7 weeks out to me. I am officially 7 weeks out today. I am so freaking excited. On our way to the gym, I ordered my shoes and my jewelry. I'm gonna pop a picture over Chad's face so that I can show you guys. I'm very excited about these. I used to have, oh, in my bag, hang on. I have these. These are the Radiant Olympian with the rhinestones down here. I got the Goddess Olympian, which you will see right here. It has the internal rhinestones on the inside. So I'm excited, a little like subtle sparkle, but just like a plain clear heel. Very classy. It's gonna go so well with my suit that I haven't gotten a video of in creation yet, and I'm not revealing the color for a while, but I'm super excited about it. And it's a very exciting day because I got a new training split this week, being 7 weeks out. I needed something that was a little bit less fatiguing. My performance was starting to plateau. I have been progressing for the entirety of my training split, which I am very excited about, very happy with my progress thus far. But at this point, recovery's taken a little bit of a hit. So we got to the end of my last training block and I was like sitting at the top of the stairs for like 10 minutes before I would come inside after a workout. So Chad was like, yo, you look kind of dead. I was like, yeah, I am kind of dead. So
Caroline's the last person to fucking admit it, so I had to like watch how she behaves to make my fucking decisions.
And then I walk heavier, and that's when he usually calls me out. He's like, yo, why are you dragging your feet? I'm like, there's nothing, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm the kind of person that, like, if my coach told me to eat dirt, I would, and just like not question it. So he had to tell me, hey, let's probably not like push up volume the last week of your training split. We held it steady, made it through, and now I have no more barbell work in my training program. I get to play around with more cables, more machines, more fun rep ranges, intensity techniques, all of those things. And like I said, I'm an athlete that you told me to eat dirt, I will do it. So I brought the man himself to explain.
I mean, let's go into just the leg day alone. You first out of your diet that ended around November, December, you went into a little 6-week block that was very reminiscent of what we're doing now. It's actually very similar. If you go look at them, they're like, it's very similar. So like we take a winning, we take notes and we find the winning formula. And if the winning formula is a winning formula, we keep consistent with that winning formula until things run stale. It sounds a lot better to progress with minimal movements and variations than try to throw a bunch at the wall and hope it sticks, right? That's the thing that people really need to understand about program design is there is a nature of selecting what we believe to be best and what we want to develop the most. And for Caroline, that was delts. And for Caroline, that was obviously more glutes.
Upper outer glute. I got a lot of max.
Yeah, upper outer glute. and so, you know, we're going to design things around that. We're going to find what works. And the first 6 weeks worked like a charm. So we built a base off of that, and in your first massing mesocycle and your second massing mesocycle, so for 3 straight mesocycles, actually 4, we had you doing sumo deadlift. You actually progressed from 95 pounds in the 6 to 10 rep range up to 105 pounds for 4 sets of 12.
Hell yeah.
So like, and that's over 4 mesos, 6, 12, 18, 24 weeks. 24 weeks of progress with the sumo deadlift. You had that in, and it just kept working and kept working. Your ass kept fucking growing, which is phenomenal. And then,
had I kept massing, I think that I definitely could have still progressed. So I definitely didn't plateau on that movement.
And you took that into prep. You took that into prep for the first mesocycle in prep, and then, you know, as you started getting a little bit more fatigued, we changed that to a hinge. We changed that to a good morning, and we kept the sumo variation in, but we placed that as your last movement on the leg day on a sumo Smith squat. So you're already going in that movement with your glutes a little pre-fatigued. I
have never squatted such bitch weight in my entire life. I feel like such a pansy doing that at the end of my workout.
Your glute pump, you can't fucking walk after it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
My ego.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, like, throw you into that movement, which, you know, we could argue would get, you know, a little more stimulus in total, but if we go into that movement last while the glutes are already pre-fatigued, we don't need to load it as much, and you can get a lot of work done, quality work.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah, and so for this last push,
which is wild. It's my last training split of the whole freaking thing. The whole thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm 49 days out today.
You have good morning. It's still in the same rep range because you still have room to progress in that because we've only been on it for 6 weeks. Good
which
morning,
will show you it's a fun machine.
Yeah, it's really nice because as her leverages change, you know, she's still able to get a lot of like hamstring disruption in this exercise, but she doesn't have to hold weight. so
Yeah.
it's not really that fatiguing. I changed you from straight sets to a giant set on hip thrust, a machine hip thrust, which will be fun to see today. Like, you give me that face, but your glutes will recover faster before your next session, and that's the whole reason why we did it. Like, there's a difference in accumulating straight sets, so like 2 sets of 10, for example, 3 sets of 10, for example, 4 sets of 10, then 1 giant set of 40, 45, 50. In the moment, your glutes are going to be like crush, you're going to be breathing heavy, but your glutes will recover faster by the next session. And because our food is lower, and because you're leaner and you're more injury prone, I'd rather have faster recovery, but during the session get crazy stimulus, crazy pumps when your calories are lowest. And if we're getting good pumps when calories are low, that's a good sign that the training is working. Correct. A lot of people at this point are like, oh, I'm 7 weeks out, I'm 6 weeks out, so I'm gonna lose my strength and I'm not gonna get pumps and I'm gonna feel like death in the gym. And I say, fuck that. Like, I want you to feel like you're having fun in the gym still. I really want you to be engaged with your training and not feel like it's death, right?
Yeah. There's something to be said as you get deeper into a diet or into a prep, when training just gets so hard, it's really hard to want to be there, and you're already low energy, then you're training while you're hungry, and you're not progressing, so you're like, fuck this. Like, I just don't want to be here, which then, if you don't want to be there, your performance is going to drop, and you just like are going to start losing tissue.
Yeah, there's such a thing as arousal with training.
Yeah.
It's something to consider when somebody is in the depths of a diet, like you getting these little switches, these switcheroos and new exercises. Same pattern. So, instead of a dumbbell shoulder press, you're seeing Smith press, because I'd rather you be on a fixed plane. And certain exercises, what else would we make a switch with? That's instead of barbell bent over row, you're now doing dumbbell bent over row. Little things like that. Just less fatiguing movements for this last 6 weeks. So it'll be fun. Your pumps will be sick, and you'll keep progressing in training. You'll keep progressing. That's the thing. It's like she's utilizing 10, 15, 20, even plus 20 rep ranges for these exercises, and with that kind of rep range, you can't really progress much with load. You're really forced to, let's say the rep range is 10 to 20 and you hit 12, you have 4 to 5 more weeks to get 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Right? And you might not even progress load for those couple weeks, but you're still making progress.
Right.
And that's the point. Like, you should not see digressions with your training in a prep. You just shouldn't. You should not. The only way that's going to happen is if I kept sumo deadlift in at the 6 to 10 rep range, just like we did in your first massing block, you'd be eating shit right now.
Yeah.
And you would literally just hate your existence.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. It's just exciting to be able to get one more rep than you did last week. And at the beginning of this block, during yesterday's workout, I was able to get one more rep during my first week of training than I did at the beginning of my last mesocycle. And like, that's exciting to have these little micro progressions that you get to have throughout prep, because you have to realize that, like, at this point, being 7 weeks out, like, I'm not putting on any more tissue. Like, I'm not getting any stronger. It's just a thing, right?
Your peak volume and where you took your volume to your maximum recoverable state in massing, we kept that peak volume the same for your first 6 weeks in prep, and we marginally took that top line down for your second cycle, training cycle prep, and then for this one it's also marginally down a bit.
Yeah.
You're still across the board with everything, at least that what we've seen for you is minimally effective. With training volume in a prep, you had to be a little bit more conservative. You can't push it crazy high, but you at least want it to be minimally effective. Minimally effective meaning, hey, this is the minimum effective amount of volume that I would need to create adaptation. Anything below that, while being hypocaloric, and you'd be losing some tissue. So that's kind of the minimum game that you need to play at. And as you get deeper and deeper, what you can accumulate up, your ceiling for fatigue is lower being hypocaloric, so you can't take that as high. And so that's something that we picked up in her last meso. It's like, honestly, I was really testing. I was like, okay, hey, can we carry your peak massing volume into your second meso prep? I was like, let's see. And after your 4th week, not even your 5th week before the deload, you're like, yo. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I expected. So I just held your volume static, and you still made progressions that next week. Good, that's what you want. You still made progressions, but like, here's the thing with training in your prep, you still earn your deloads.
For sure.
Yep.
It's definitely a mindset to choose to keep your tissue around, because it is so easy to be like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I just need to get in here and move and get out. But that's not at all how to conduct yourself in a prep. You want to give that tissue a reason to stick around, because I worked way too hard. I slammed way too many sushi rolls to let my delts go away. It's not easy, you know?
Yeah, but prep is just calorie deficit and more cardio. Training doesn't really matter.
All right, so we gonna go inside. I might slam a rice cake before we get started, but I will meet you at the Rogers Good Morning. Okay, so I lied. I told you I was going to be starting on the Rogers Good Morning, and I'm not. I start my workout. I'm gonna pop up my workout on the screen right here. I actually start with a cable Y raise, and it's because we need more delts volume. Like we mentioned earlier, my focus is delts, 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 delts. So going to start with that, gonna warm up my upper body, and then I'll come back, do my stretching, lower body warm up, and then hop into my first leg day movement. So to warm up my upper body, I just really like to do some dynamic stuff to get some blood flowing. I like to use this PVC pipe because I feel like I can get a rotation going. It makes my upper body feel really great before I start working out. Okay, so first movement is a cable Y raise, and I had no idea that they had this. This is a little pin that you put in place of this. Aw, no, it doesn't fit. That was gonna be so exciting. So never mind, I'm just gonna show you the life hack. So I have to use a 5 or I can't quite use the 10 yet for my Y raises. I have to use 5, but if I use 5 pounds, I go over my rep range. So I'm gonna add this 2.5 pound plate onto this, and you just stick the pin through it. And now we have 2 sets of this. I really love this movement because you can get a really full contraction of the delt at the top. You're just moving your arm in a Y motion, and that's exactly why it's called a Y raise. There's something about a cable that you just get such a great contraction. We're going for 10 to 15 here, leaving 3 reps in the tank this week. All right, that was 10. We'll call it there and progress throughout the rest of the split. Now, other side and then another set. It's crazy how much of a pump you can get from like one good movement. It feels so cool as you get later. The pumps get intense. As long as you have your meal relatively close and you have some sodium to make sure you can get a pump. So I start with some stretching before I'm gonna go into my first leg movement. Someone's using the machine right now, so I'm gonna take my sweet time. Comment down below if you know cheerleading, gymnastics, stretching things. I have done it since I was a cheerleader and a gymnast way back in the day. Did that for about a decade, but still got the split. I can usually tell how my leg day is gonna go and how I'm recovering based on how my splits go. If my splits are like hard and I can't touch the ground on both sides, I know that I'm not super recovered and I'm pretty sore. Might be a little bit weaker that day, but today we're feeling pretty good.
Yo, check this.
Oh yeah, we are in there today. We have finally met each other at the Rogers Good Morning. This is where I'm starting. I put on 2 25s to warm up. This isn't my working weight, but whenever you're working your way up to a heavier movement, especially if it's a compound movement, not only do you want to like body weight warm up, dynamic movement, stuff like that, you also want to acclimate up to your working weight with your sets, because you don't just want to hop into a really heavy set. You're putting yourself in a position where you are at a greater risk of injury, which is not what we want, especially when you're dieting. You don't have the food to recover, which makes you even more injury prone. So, gonna do a couple of reps here, then we're gonna work our way up to our working weight. All right, so I did 4 reps at 50, I did 4 reps at 70. My working weight is going to be 90 pounds on this machine. I'm gonna be filming the second set for you guys because that's where the like juicy stuff is, right? But I am at 3 to 4 RIR this week, which means that I'm leaving 3 to 4 reps in the tank for every set, so I won't be really pushing failure. I am kind of stopping like just when it gets juicy, but we will increase my intensity throughout the rest of this mesocycle. So I'm gonna put something quite angry on. This is what I'm listening to right now. Comment down below if you guys like dubstep, rhythm, base, all of the fun angry shit. All right, I actually got 12 on my first working set at 90, which is the top end of the rep range. It's 10 more pounds than I did during my last mesocycle, so I'm actually gonna stay here. Probably gonna get like 11 or 12 again here, and then I might actually be able to increase weight next time, so excited. This machine has become one of my absolute favorites since starting prep. It has completely removed the need for me to use a barbell to do a straight leg deadlift, which is very helpful in keeping my overall systemic stress down, and I'm still able to perform the movement, and honestly it makes my life really easy to load up this machine versus having to set up the barbell the entire time. So some cues that I like to think of when I'm performing this movement are trying to keep my legs as straight as possible and trying to keep my glutes nice and high the entire time. The glutes like to drop and the knees like to bend as you get to the bottom of the movement where your legs are fully extended, but keeping your glutes nice and high, keeping your legs nice and straight is putting a lot of good stuff on those hamstrings, which is exactly what we need. That was my last set here. Gonna move on to my giant set of hip thrusts. I only have 2 sets of everything this week. Just like my intensity, my volume will also increase throughout this mesocycle. So, hip thrust. We got one big old giant set of 40. I usually work with 2 45s on each side, but instead I put a 45 and a 25 on each side. So the goal is to get 40 reps in as little sets as possible, but each of my little set rounds, I'm gonna stop at 3 reps in reserve, take like 5 to 10 deep breaths, and then go right back into it. So it's just one big, long set, but then it's over. So here we go. This is another machine that I absolutely love to replace barbell hip thrusts. These were getting pretty fatiguing to have in my program, especially after that original barbell straight leg deadlift and even after the Rogers Good Morning. Something about a barbell hip thrust is just a lot, because when I use a barbell, I can usually use like a decent bit of weight. This machine allows me to get an even deeper stretch than what I can get with the barbell. I have a little bit of trouble with barbell movements, particularly with a hip thrust, because my torso is short, because I'm only 5 feet tall. So this allows me to get the fullest stretch on my glute. And remember, the bigger the stretch, the fatter the ass.
You make me laugh.
Okay, so that last giant set, it was tough, but I'm excited about it. I think it's fun because the pump on this is insane. I'm about to go into my second set, which is my last set of this. Last mesocycle, I was doing 40 total pounds on the bar, so I wasn't like counting the bar, I'm just tracking whatever I'm adding to it, and I couldn't quite get the rep range, so especially with starting this meso at 3 to 4 RIR, I'm working with 30 pounds on the bar, and the pump is phenomenal after that giant set. So I am gonna go for 10 to 15 in this, and then we only have calves and hanging leg raises left. I honestly haven't squatted in a hot minute up until this mesocycle, because my primary leg day compound was sumo deadlifting at the peak of my massing, and honestly the entire duration of me coming out of my diet last year up until we had to pull it out from prep. So still kind of getting used to this movement, and some cues that I find really help me are to imagine that you are tearing a piece of paper between your feet and then really driving your knees out the entire time. My camera died during my squatting clip, but still got to film on my phone. So we are wrapping up the workout with calf raises because size matters. I don't care what you say. Having jacked calves is a flex. And notice how I am slow and controlled on each and every one of these. Bouncing is cheating. You want to get that full stretch all the way up to the top and pause, all the way down to the bottom and pause with every single rep.
Mix it up like this.
What?
So my camera died.
Drink Prime. I am not sponsored by shit. It's
good.
Just so
It's really good.
dude. It's so good. Like ridiculously good.
Yeah, so like I was saying, my camera died in the middle of my sumo squats, which is honestly like great. Tried to film this workout, no shit, like 4 times. So I'm really glad that we got through the bulk of it. I filmed my calves on my phone camera, and now we're headed home. So I got my juice box, which is what I call it. I am in love with the Coke Freestyle right now. I usually get half Powerade Zero orange, half vanilla Sprite, and it's like a creamsicle vibe. But if I have a whole one of these with bubbles, it wrecks my stomach. So I split it half and half. They were out of Powerade Zero today, so I got half Minute Maid Zero strawberry lemonade with half Sprite. So I'm gonna go home, drink this, have my post-workout meal, and then yeah, we'll probably like watch Game of Thrones for the rest of the night. But gotta put my seatbelt on. All right, comment, share, like, subscribe, get big glutes. See you next time.